Is Dak Prescott actually an MVP candidate? Heck, is Luka Doncic actually an MVP candidate right now? Are the Dallas Cowboys in the Super Bowl conversation? Probably not. We give our picks. We also talk about our favorite bets from the week ahead, our favorite thing and least favorite thing from the last week, and an inspiring story to wrap things up because I'm positive, Pat, we have to wrap things up that way. This is the inaugural NBC5 Sports Podcast, and it starts now.
It's the NBC5 Sports Podcast presented by 105.3 The Fan.
Hey everybody, I am Pat Doney. This is the NBC5 Sports Podcast, the first one that we've ever done, and I'm happy to have my main man, RJ Choppy from 105.3 The Fan alongside. Do you feel special being a part of the first one?
I do. This was totally unexpected to be the first one here.
Yeah.
And I love calling it a podcast, even though it's on video.
Yes.
Because I don't think the word vodcast works very well.
Well, eventually it's going to become audio and video as well. And just so you know, the other three people who couldn't make it before you, they said that
That's
you would.
okay.
It was very
That's
special
okay.
to have you here
we're
to
good.
be a part of this first one. We're going to do a couple of things in this show. We're going to recap the last week in North Texas sports. We're going to spend a little more time previewing the weekend ahead, the things you need to know in the sports world, some bets we like, high school football. That'll be me, don't worry, Chop. But we'll spend about 2 minutes on that. Some fantasy football talk as well. Just basically things that I love to do, and you get to be along for the ride, which I'm happy to have you here and do it.
I was actually asked to vote in the High School Player of the Year and Coach of the Year award.
So we have the right man for the job.
So I voted.
This is exactly.
Don't know who I voted for, but I voted.
I'll let you know if you made a good choice or not. But I want to start off right away by talking about last week, okay? This is our last week recap segment at this point. The Dallas Cowboys, they beat the Detroit Lions. I was at the game in Detroit. It wasn't pretty, but it's a win they absolutely had to have. What did you take away as the main thing from that Cowboys win against Detroit?
I mean, Dak's playing amazing. But the main thing I took away is, one, Detroit actually plays competitive football games that no one's giving them credit for, but they played a close one with the Chiefs, should have beat the Chiefs, should have beat the Packers, could have beat the Cowboys. This Cowboys defense doesn't tackle very well. There's a problem here. This defense, well, I think the defensive problems are a little bit overrated. I don't think the defense is as bad as people are saying it is. Their tackling certainly is.
Yeah.
And they've got some issues on special teams as well, but this is a Super Bowl offense. I think that's what we kind of figured out.
Dak Prescott leading the way as well. That's the thing that I take away from the game is that this is a Dak first, pass first offense. Did you know that if Dak Prescott averages 377 yards in the final 6 games of the season? That's a lot, but he's surpassed that in 4 games already at this point, including a couple 400-yard games. So it's not ridiculous to say it's possible. If Dak throws for 377 on average a game going forward, he would break Peyton Manning's record for the most yards thrown in a season.
Wow.
I mean, to do that in a year where everything's on the line, where he's basically said, I'm going to play for a new contract. I deserve to be paid as one of the highest paid players in the NFL. He is proving it in a way that I think is shocking to see the way he's performing.
Dude, you could not have guessed that he was going to have this kind of year.
Yeah.
He is on pace for the 7th most passing yards in NFL history. Just on pace for what he has done. He is having, from a yards per attempt category, a top 20 all-time NFL season. This is a historic year for Dak.
Yeah.
Historic. 07 Brady, 2010 Manning, that's the success rate of the pass plays in wins and losses. It's amazing what he's doing.
And we'll get into the MVP conversation at some point as well. I want to talk about another guy who could be in the MVP conversation, Luka Doncic. I mean, the guy is playing out of his mind right now. Phenomenal performance against the Golden State Warriors. Phenomenal performance against the San Antonio Spurs. He seems to be making 30-point and then double-digit assist and double-digit rebound games feel normal, and it's hard to remember that the guy's still 20 years old. I mean, what an incredible... I don't know how much better we could ask for Luka. Can he actually go up from here?
I mean, it's gonna go up, but he's only 20, right?
Yeah, you would think.
So it'll go up. I don't know how much of a jump he's gonna take because he's already a seasoned pro.
Yeah.
He's not like the rest of the kids who came in out of college at 19 who had, AAU coaching and then 1 year of Coach Cal or Coach K. He's been a professional with the best coaching since he was 15.
Right.
He's already seasoned. But I don't know how many superlatives you won in the yearbook. I didn't win many or any. I just take the M off of many and it's any. I didn't win any.
Yeah.
But we're running out of superlatives for this dude.
Yeah.
Like, we're running out of names to say, oh my God, this is so cool. Like, what could you possibly say more about him?
Yeah.
He is phenomenal. He's must-see TV. Whether or not people watch the NBA is a different story.
I think it's going to start to change. I think people are going to start to watch more. These games have been so fun to watch for the Mavericks. Luka averaging 30 points, 11 rebounds, and 9.4 assists. So he's 0.1 away from averaging a triple-double. His numbers at this point, there was a great tweet. I apologize. I don't know who tweeted it out at the time. His numbers right now are significantly better than what LeBron James's were or Magic Johnson's were when they were 20 years old at the time.
Well, the one thing that I hope doesn't hurt him this year in the MVP is if he averages a triple-double, does Russell Westbrook averaging a triple-double a couple of times take some of the allure off the number?
That luster that's there,
like,
for sure.
Before, a couple years ago, it was Oscar, and that was it.
Right.
And then you had Russ come in here and do it a couple of times. Does that? It's like the Triple Crown in horse racing.
Yeah.
Once we saw it for the first time in 40 years, did we really care to see it again 3 years later?
Yeah.
Like, we wanted to see it again, but it didn't have the same.
It definitely doesn't have the same juice to it for sure.
And I hope that doesn't ruin him for the MVP.
I hope not as well, because he is absolutely affecting games in ways that very few people in the world of basketball are even coming close to doing right now. Switching to the ice for the Dallas Stars, they are 11-1-1 in their last 13 games. This is after that atrocious start. They were 1-8-1 to start the season, and now they play again Thursday night. I know a lot of people are going to be watching this and hearing this after their game against the Jets on Thursday night. It doesn't matter what happens against the Jets on Thursday night, because what's happened the last few weeks is they have gone from a team that was a massive disappointment to right now, they are 7-1 to win the Stanley Cup at this point.
Ooh.
The third best odds in the NHL. Okay. 7-1 to reach the Stanley Cup Finals, 12-1 to win the Stanley Cup. But still, they are in that top echelon of teams. And to me, I think that this organization deserves a lot of credit for turning things around. Any team that starts 1-8-1 and then goes on to win 11 of their next 13 games, that says quite a bit about the group.
It does. They're playing well. There was talk going in this year, has Jamie Benn kind of started to hit the decline of his career? But he had a really good night the other night.
2 goals against the Canucks in that 6-1 win. Yep.
That Western Canada swing. I was in Western Canada when the Stars were going through
How about that?
Yeah. I didn't get to go see the game. I missed them.
Why not?
I missed them in Calgary, or as they say up there, Calgary. I missed it. But look, they've played really, really sound hockey.
Yeah.
And, it starts with their offense. It starts with them just being able to put some defensive pressure. They're relentless offensively.
Yeah.
That Vancouver game, I mean, they were putting pucks on net left and right.
Right. 3 goals in this third period that really kind of sealed the deal. And this is a team that right now I think you have to consider an absolute contender, which is leaning me towards the thing before the thing, which is something we're going to talk about just in a few minutes. Let's talk about the weekend ahead. The Cowboys at the Patriots. Everybody knows this. Dallas, a 6.5-point underdog in the game. The Patriots are 67-9 at home since 2010. They never lose in Foxborough. No. The Cowboys have not beaten a good team so far this season. Are you giving Dallas any chance in this game at all?
Well, I hate to take the luster off the positive Pat.
It's okay.
But
you might be surprised with what I'm going to say here. Go ahead.
Not only do I give them a chance, my hot take of the week is the Cowboys win by double digits.
Double digits?
Double digits. This is an easy game for them. I think the Cowboys are going to the next 3 games with the Pats. And then, you've got, they'll have
the Thanksgiving game against the Bills.
They'll have the Rams thrown in there.
The Bears are
as
well in there, yeah.
So I think they win 3 of the next 4.
I can see it.
And I think it starts with this one this week. I love the Cowboys plus the 6.5 plus. I got them at +7 because I got it early in the week.
How about that?
I was part of the reason the Cowboys line's dropping. I'm putting that juice on the Cowboys. I don't believe the Patriots can score with them.
Yeah. What I'm concerned about, if I'm the Dallas Cowboys, is that this is a team that really seems to struggle stopping opposing running backs in the passing game, screen games, right? Yeah. I think this has a chance to be a huge James White New England Patriots running back game in receiving yards. Dallas has to find a way to try to slow down these running backs when they come out of the backfield, because the Cowboys have these pass rushers who fly up the field. Yeah. They do such a great job getting after the quarterback, but what that does is the way that you counter that, if you're an offense, you have these screens, you have these little passings, the dink and dunk passing game, and I feel like the Patriots could do that. I'm taking the Patriots to win the game, but I'm taking the Cowboys with the points. I think it's going to be really close, but I can see New England winning by about a field goal is what I have, and is my prediction at this point.
Like, the Cowboys' biggest for me, their biggest problem this week is themselves.
Okay.
Do they get too cute? Like, just do what you've done. Like,
Yes.
what you've done the last 2 weeks is by the pass. Don't get cute. Don't try to run the ball too much to keep the ball away from Tom, because Tom's not Tom anymore.
Right. Switching to basketball, the Mavericks host the Cavs on Friday night. It's the end of 3 straight games against 3 bad teams in a row. They need to win that game in the AAC. And then Sunday, it's down to Houston to play the Houston Rockets in a game that, if the Mavericks want to be considered serious contenders to win their division, which what I'm seeing right now is clearly a team that is better than what Vegas slotted them at before the season. 40.5 wins before the season. They thought they were I agree with you. I did too. They clearly are a better than 500 team. I think there's a chance they might win 50 games, and 48 to 50, 51 in that range. But if you want to be a real threat, Chop, this is a game where you can start to set the tone that it's, I don't care if it's James Harden and Russell, whatever. I get it. This is a chance for you to set the tone and kind of make a statement, and it's Luka against Harden. I can't wait to watch it.
We'll go back to college football this year. I thought A&M this year had a chance to get a game against Auburn. Like, if they wanted to take that next step with Jimbo, like, that was a game, that was a winnable football game. They didn't take care of it. This is like that game with the Mavericks. Like, they've got a chance here to kind of let the world know, we're not going to win the title this year, but, we're on the move. And beating a team that's got Harden, that's got Westbrook, Houston has been made deep runs in the postseason. Even if you don't win the division, you win games like this, you at least let the world know. You put the world on notice. And it's important for upcoming free agents. I know it's kind of early. This team has never been able to sign free agents. And if you show, A, you got Luka, B, Porzingis is having he's having a better year than people want to say. I mean,
4 double-doubles in a row.
What's wrong with 18 and 10?
Nothing.
I mean, tell me what's wrong with that.
Especially
I don't know.
when you're playing alongside the LeBron of his generation.
Right.
That's what Luka's playing like right now.
I hate sounding like positive Pat here, but there's a whole lot to like.
It's not a bad thing. Do it more.
There's a whole lot to like.
No doubt about it. Hey, the Stars, they host the Chicago Blackhawks Saturday night. Curious how many Blackhawks fans are in attendance. For whatever reason.
Used to be a huge game.
It was a huge thing, and now it seems to be kind of, and then now with Dallas on fire, Chicago's just behind them in the Central standings. I think this is a good opportunity for the Stars to make a little statement, and hopefully we see more Dallas Stars fans in attendance in that matchup against a Chicago team that is not a Stanley Cup contender this season. All right, to college football, TCU at Oklahoma Saturday at 7. Texas is at Baylor. That game is Saturday at 2:30. That was a game that had all sorts of, Texas is back, and Baylor almost undefeated still at that point. Now it's lost a little bit of its luster.
If Baylor wins against Texas, Texas will be 6-5.
Right.
Which means they'll have the same record as Tennessee, who lost to Georgia State and BYU. That is an unacceptable season.
That might be a problem.
Tom Herman may not be on the hot seat, but Tom Herman is like Baylor found the right coach, a real football coach.
He might not be there much longer.
Okay.
I mean, he's an
NFL
guy.
NFL wants him, right?
Exactly right.
They found a football coach.
No doubt. Texas A&M at Georgia Saturday at 2:30. Another chance for a statement game. More on that here in just a second. And then SMU at Navy Saturday at 2:30. SMU 9-1 on the season. Only 2 games left. I believe they play Tulane next week, so they're going to win that. So against Tulane, I'm feeling pretty good. Navy is always a challenge with that strange offense, but SMU coming off a bye, what a job they are doing there on the Hill, and what a great season it's been for SMU at this point.
It has been. Outside of that one, you get to slip up against Memphis. It's
Great,
a tough team.
good team.
Especially on the road, tough team. But, Navy's always a problem, and Navy's really fun to watch anyway. You get the whole pageantry of the midshipmen and the cadets and everything. So really, really cool.
Can't wait for that. All right, let's transition now to a segment that I'm really excited that you're here for, because this is your specialty. It's called If I Were a Betting Man. And the reason this is so funny is because I'm clearly not a betting man. I've never made a bet, I don't think, in my life outside of the casino. You know the slot machines at the Vegas
I know
airport?
the slot machines, Pat. Don't worry about that.
The Vegas airport one.
Yeah,
I mean, I had a layover there, and that's the extent of my betting experience. But I'm passionate. I love picking against lines and spreads and all that. I think it's really fun. We're going to have 3 bets that we like for this weekend, and let's go back and forth 1-1. What is your first bet that you have for this weekend that you like?
I already said I love the Cowboys.
Okay.
The
to
Cowboys
win the game
plus
and
6.5.
plus 6.5.
And you hit the money line Cowboys, you're getting like 2.5 to 1. That doesn't happen with a good quality team. The Patriots are such home favorites that people get undervalued that are playing against them. I love the Cowboys this week.
Okay, I'm taking in that Cowboys-Patriots game. I'm taking the under. Okay, it opened at 47 points as the over/under. It's down to 45.5. This is a Patriots team that is only scoring 24 points a game the last 4 weeks. Dallas is only scoring 27 a game on the road. Dallas hasn't played well against a good team this season. New England's defense is awesome. Foxborough's a hard place to play. Oh yeah, by the way, it's supposed to be freezing cold and rainy, maybe snowy in the game as well. I think this game is going to be somewhere in that 20 to 17 range. I mean, just like the Eagles just lost to New England 17-10, I could see it being something similar. Cowboys offense better than Phillies, but I don't think that it's going to be a high-scoring game, so I'm taking the under 45.5. What's your second bet?
Bengals plus 6.5 against Pittsburgh.
Okay.
All right. Now, I don't know that the Cincinnati is going to win the game.
Look at this. Taking the Bengals. That's always a scary thing.
I'm taking the Bengals plus the 6.5 points against the Mason Rudolphs.
I don't blame you for that. Yeah. With Mason Rudolph, he doesn't make me really thrilled. I'm going a different route, though. I'm going Seattle is a 1.5-point underdog at Philadelphia. Okay. And I think this Seattle team found something in its last game. Jadeveon Clowney was a monster in that last game. Russell Wilson has been phenomenal, maybe the MVP this year. He's been incredible for that Seahawks team. And I don't trust Philadelphia. I don't think the Eagles are a very good team. And this is Seattle coming off a bye. This is Philly coming off a game against New England. All of the signs are pointing to not only Seattle covering the 1.5 points, but clearly I'm picking them to win the game in Philadelphia. I think Russell Wilson has a monster day against that Philly secondary.
Okay, very good. My third game, Jets plus 3.5 against the Raiders at home. It's a home game for the Jets.
Do you believe in Gruden? Do you believe in that team?
I do believe in that team. Yeah, okay. I do. But they like to run the football, and that'll keep the game close by nature. And the Jets have played pretty decent over the last couple of weeks. Ever since they beat the Cowboys, I know they had the game against New England, but they've beaten some teams. They've played well. They beat the Giants. They destroyed the Giants. They destroyed the Redskins. Yeah. So give me the Jets plus 3.5.
My third one, we go to college football. Texas A&M opened as a 14-point underdog at Georgia. Ooh. It's down to 13 points already. A&M's offense is firing right now. 41 points a game in their last 3 games. I know the competition hasn't been amazing, but Georgia, even though they're way more talented than those opponents to this point, the Bulldogs have played a lot of close games to this point. Georgia wins a lot, but they win by single digits quite a bit this year. I kind of feel like this could be that game for A&M that maybe they don't win the game, but they lose by a touchdown or a field goal. Okay. I absolutely think it's less than 2 touchdowns in that game. So good. I'm taking the Aggies in the points right there. Transition now to our Super Bowl. Every week we're going to pick who we have in the Super Bowl at this moment, and you're the guest, so I'm going to let you go first. Which 2 teams do you have in the Super Bowl, and who do you have winning the game?
I have absolutely no idea.
Okay.
You told me this the other day, hey, come up with a Super Bowl pick, and I must have picked 14 different combinations of this game. So the last one I went with, and I'll just go with it, Chiefs-Niners.
Oh, Chiefs-Niners.
All right. Okay. No idea how I got to that. I don't feel confident in the Patriots. I would not pick the Ravens to beat the Chiefs in the playoffs. So I guess I'll go with the Chiefs. Meanwhile, in the NFC is so loaded. It's such a crapshoot.
Yeah, it's impossible right now.
Drew Brees has been up and down since he came back. Last year, he tailed up at the end of the year. I love Seattle. I love Russell Wilson, but they're not going to have home field.
Yeah.
Philadelphia may not even make the postseason. I love the Cowboys, but then again, do they have the defense? Green Bay, not really trusting them. I guess I'll go with the best defense in the league.
I'm going with the Ravens over the Saints. Baltimore has not lost since September 29th. Their running game has been phenomenal this season. The Saints' run defense. Everybody talks about Drew Brees, Teddy Bridgewater. It's the Saints' run defense that's really special this year. And they did it against the Cowboys. We saw it when the Cowboys went to the Superdome. This was a game where the Saints basically stopped the Cowboys' run just with their front 4. Yeah. And they're great at that. They're running the football extremely well. Michael Thomas is on a historic pace. But I think the difference in the game would be, and the reason I would take the Ravens over the Saints, is that the Saints have stopped the run, but they haven't faced a runner like Lamar Jackson because you have the ability to run with the quarterback and the running back. So I'm taking the the Ravens to win the Super Bowl right now over the Saints. Football Outsiders has Baltimore at 20% odds of reaching the Super Bowl right now. The Saints are at 15% odds. The Cowboys, by the way, 4.4% odds. So the Football Outsiders thinks the Cowboys are good. They have them in their DVOA ranking, usually in the top 5 somewhere. But they don't have them going to the Super Bowl this year. But that's not saying a whole lot because the NFC is loaded.
It's loaded. And I will say this about Lamar Jackson. You said that they haven't seen a guy like nobody has.
Yes.
Ever.
Yeah.
In the history of the league.
Right.
Mike Vick is
Yes.
it. Mike Vick's the only one.
And he's bigger than Michael Vick. People don't realize he's a couple inches taller than Michael, and
Yeah.
it's long stride and all that. It's just, he's phenomenal to watch. All right, next segment, the thing before it's a thing. A chance for us to share with you something that you should know that's getting ready to be a thing in the sports world that is not a thing to this point right now. People are not, I'm going to go first on this one. People are not talking enough about that this has a chance to be an extremely special spring of 2020 in sports in North Texas. Here's what I mean. The Cowboys are on track to make the playoffs. I think they're going to win the East, and they, if they get in, they've got a chance to do a little something that's there. The Mavericks right now are so fun to watch. They are a playoff team right now, especially with the Warriors going down the toilet with the injuries they've had. That was a disaster that we watched this week, and their season is done. The Mavericks are going to make the postseason this year. The Stars, as I mentioned earlier, they have a chance to make the playoffs this year. Not just make the playoffs, but they're one of the teams that are considered as a real title contender, Stanley Cup Finals challenger this year. I think the spring of 2020, from January to June, has a chance to be one of those 5-6 month periods of time where we look back and we say, that was a lot of fun, because all three of the major sports teams that are there that I listed all have a chance to be really good, make serious postseason runs. Oh yeah, and the Rangers, they opened their new stadium, and I think it's going to be pretty cool to be a part of the new stadium, Globe Life Field as well. This spring is going to be awesome in North Texas. That's my thing before a thing that you should be thinking about right now.
All right, so how about this? You know I love gambling.
Yes, you do.
During his career, minus his final year, Peyton Manning covered 58% of all spreads, whether he was the underdog or the favorite.
Wow.
Dak Prescott has covered 58% of all spreads.
Wow.
If you blindly bet on the Cowboys to cover, if Dak Prescott is starting, you have won 58% of your games.
That's almost a guarantee when it comes to betting.
Yeah, in betting, anything more than 52.6% is considered a win. So Dak Prescott is covering at the same rate that Peyton Manning covered at. Now it's only 3 years versus 18.
Yeah.
Okay, but we're trending that way. So if you were to bet every single game Tom Brady started since 2003, if you were going to bet $100 on that, you'd be up $6,000 right now.
Okay.
So just fast forward to 15 years from now with Dak Prescott. If you start and you bet $100 a game, bet 50 a game. Whatever you want to bet, 30 a game. And see what happens in 15 years. You'll be able to pay for that new floor you need, or the new couch, or the new TV, or 1/15 of your daughter's college.
Yeah. Imagine being a guy like Sean Sharif who didn't want to pay him. How about that?
Didn't want to pay him.
Feels pretty good now, being in the category in the group that said, pay Dak Prescott. He's about to get paid. All right, into our next segment. Decent, not decent. The reason it's called this, it started on social media a couple of years ago. There was a great catch made by Dez Bryant in a Cowboys game that I saw, and I was like, decent catch, Dez, on Twitter. And I got hammered by people saying, decent? Decent? You didn't think that was great? And I was obviously being sarcastic. It's become a thing on Twitter now. Decent. Every single time somebody makes a great play, does something phenomenal, it's decent, and I just have some fun with that. So this is our favorite thing and our least favorite thing of the week. Let's start with you. What was your favorite thing, your most decent thing in North Texas sports or non-sports in the last week?
All right, well, how about this is all encompassing because it does affect, it's not a North Texas thing, but it affects us.
Okay, life.
The John Boy Twitter account. The guy who exposed the Houston Astros.
That's pretty good.
This was phenomenal work that he put through. From going to the point where he is breaking down the Astros batting averages, slugging percentage, extra base hits off of off-speed pitches in 2017, to going through their World Series DVD and finding the card table at the trash can and the guy picking up the TV before the umpires could come in to see it, to figuring out the bang-bang of the trash can. What this guy did to out the cheating Houston Astros, I don't know what's going to happen to them. I hope something big.
Yeah.
That was my favorite thing over the past week and a half, is because this affects the Rangers, because the Rangers are in the division with them.
No question. Biggest rival, I would say, and it's the hero that we did not know that we needed.
He is the hero.
He came through. That is very decent. I agree with you on that. Mine a little more serious. I was in Detroit for the Cowboys-Lions game, watching Michael Gallup, the Cowboys wide receiver, have the second best game of his career in a game the Cowboys absolutely had to have it because Amari Cooper was playing through some pain, only had like 1 or 2 catches for, maybe 3 catches for 38 yards, I think is the number that's coming to my mind right now. The point is, Michael Gallup did that 1 year to the day of his brother dying of suicide.
Yeah.
And to talk with Michael after the game about what that meant to him to be able to play in his brother's honor, how much his brother had been on his mind because his birthday was supposed to be a couple of days before the game as well. That was incredible to see, and I wish more fans had the opportunity to kind of be a part of that moment when we heard Michael, even as he was just kind of getting dressed in his locker, talk about how much it meant to him to be able to show out in that way in that game. That was my most decent moment, and that was a really powerful experience to be a part of as well.
That's
all right,
very
your
cool.
not decent moment, the least favorite thing of the week.
Least favorite thing of the week, and this is a personal story of mine. It's non-sports, but I went Christmas tree skirt shopping on a Friday night.
As we all do.
Okay, on a Friday night by myself. I live alone. I was putting my Christmas tree up
Before
by myself.
Thanksgiving.
Before Thanksgiving, because it's America, and you can put your tree up whenever you want.
Hey,
That's a
I'm not
note
arguing.
to you,
We're
HOA.
We're not going that route.
Yeah.
We're not going to argue that.
But I went Christmas tree skirt shopping, and I walked away empty-handed, much like I walk away with everything in my life empty-handed. But I went Christmas tree skirt shopping, and to top it off, my car battery died in the parking lot.
Oh, that's pretty bad. That is not decent.
For the second time in 2 months, my car battery died. I got a lemon.
I might have beaten you, though.
Really?
Oh, yeah. My not decent moment of the week.
You admitted to yourself that you were a loser on a Friday night?
Get ready to hear something that's less decent than that. Okay, so we had the cold hit in North Texas.
Yeah.
You know, it was 25 degrees, 28 degrees. Something caused my garage to malfunction because of the cold weather. Like something in the motor or something went wrong there, okay? And so I was leaving to go and meet up with some friends on a Tuesday night, like 9 o'clock. I hit the garage button. I hop in. I don't want to drive my car, which is parked in the driveway because it's freezing cold. So I'm going to drive my wife's minivan, okay, that has, it's in the garage, so it's nice and warm. No big deal. I'm just going right down the street. Hit the button, get in the van, start backing out. Bang! Something hits.
No!
And I'm like, what's going on? So I pull back forward. The garage door has only opened 85% of the way and gotten stuck. And the top spoiler on the top of our minivan, it went into the door and it ripped the top of the spoiler up. So I had to get that replaced, and it broke the garage door to where we had to get a new garage door. That was a very expensive run to go and hang out with a couple of buddies.
Because you don't know, Doney has like an oak cedar plank type garage door.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Right. Only the finest garage doors.
The finest of all.
As you would expect. I mean, it was insane.
Chopped down a redwood.
It was insane. It was one of those moments you look at and you're like, how is this happening to me right now? That I hit the button. I mean, how often do we, when it's dark, you don't even really think about looking. You just assume the door's going to open. Yep. When you sit down, you assume the chair's going to hold you, right?
I know, I hear you.
Oh, man. It ended up being a lot of money. It was not fun, and it was not decent. And I was not happy about that at all.
But look at this. You were able to find people to go out with you on a Tuesday. I couldn't even find people to go out with me on a Friday.
That's pretty bad. I think we both had some not decent moments. One thing that I am fired up about, maybe the most decent thing that I love about my job at NBC5 is covering high school football in North Texas. And right now the playoffs are firing. We call this our high school football 2-minute drill. And I'm going to do the best I can to spend 2 minutes right now talking high school football on the top things. And we'll hear about your pick for the player of the year.
I don't know who I picked. I'll tell you, I picked the first guy on the list. They gave me the list. I just picked the first guy.
It was alphabetical order. So whoever plays quarterback at Allen, Allen's quarterback Raylan Sharp is probably your player of the year.
I think it was this kid from DeSoto.
Okay, well, they have some good players over there, too. Speaking of DeSoto, that's where we're going to start because South Lake Carroll plays DeSoto in a huge playoff game. AT&T Stadium, Friday, 3:30 p.m. The place is going to be rocking. South Lake Carroll, undefeated. DeSoto, really talented. South Lake Carroll is led by their quarterback, Quinn Ewers. He's a sophomore. He already has offers from Texas and Notre Dame and Georgia and USC. This kid is the real deal. 6'5", can run, can throw, and he is changing the way South Lake Carroll has played the last few years. Riley Dodge, their coach, had to embrace their running game last year in his first season. This year, they're throwing it all over the field. Meanwhile, Denton Geyer, their quarterback Samari Collier Jr. transferred in from Skyline. He's awesome. DeSoto is super talented. Going to be really fun to watch. That's going to be our NBC5 Big Game Friday game of the week. I'll be out there for that. And one of the reasons we're going to be there is it's a doubleheader. Because Friday night, you have Rockwall against Allen. Allen is always good. They're good again. I mentioned their quarterback, Raylan Sharp. He's going to SMU. He's super fast, an athlete. He can throw it well. I don't know if he'll play quarterback in college. He's only about 5'8", 5'9".
Hey, work for Kyler Murray.
Kyler's taller than he is, I will tell you that.
Okay,
But he is explosive with the ball in his hands. hands. I like his chances at the next level being a player. But Rockwell is led by this receiver, Jackson Smith-Njigba, who is going to Ohio State. And I'm telling you, Jackson is going to be a first-round draft pick in the NFL draft in 3 years. He is that good of a player. I think Allen wins the game, but I still think it's going to be a phenomenal showcase back and forth. And then on Saturday at AT&T Stadium, Denton Guyer, Cedar Hill. Denton Guyer, their quarterback Eli Stowers, is going to Texas A&M. Right. Cedar Hill has had a great year. Their quarterback Caden Salters is a good player as well. And so a lot of great high school football playoff action happening right now. We're going to recap it all. Every Saturday we do it on our Wingstop Inside High School Sports Show on NBC 5. It's at 6:30 every Saturday. And so I'm fired up for this weekend. This is the best time because not only is it the playoffs, not only does it mean a little more people come to the games, but they start moving games indoors, and so we don't have to worry about the outside.
That's true.
Because it's going to rain on Friday night. Any thoughts on high school football at this moment?
No.
Okay, very good. So we're going to move on now to a passion that RJ and I both have, and that is fantasy football as well. This is our Fantasy Football Minute. What is one tidbit that you would share with the people out there who play fantasy football, who are kind of average players, who pay attention a little bit? Is there something that's out there or a story that you have regarding fantasy football you want them to know about?
Look, my biggest, and I love fantasy football. I am in 2 or 3 leagues.
Okay. It's a bad sign you don't know how many, though.
Yeah, I know.
It's 2 or 3.
And I have the same argument every year with the guys in the league. Okay.
Okay.
I am a proponent of every league should be 6 points for a quarterback touchdown.
Wow. Throwing or running?
Throwing. Doesn't matter.
Okay.
A touchdown, 6 points.
So you want the quarterback to be valued in fantasy the way that he's valued in the actual game of football?
Why would I not?
Yeah. Okay.
Why would I not?
Because he's clearly the most valuable player on the team.
Exactly. But you see these leagues where you got quarterbacks after the 10th round. I got Ben Roethlisberger in the 11th round this year.
Yeah.
Fantasy football does not match the regular football. We just don't put enough value. We give the least valuable position on the NFL, which is the running back, the most value in fantasy. It doesn't make any sense to me. Yeah. There's ways to combat it with the quarterbacks where you give them less, not every 10 yards is a point or whatever, or however many it is, but 6 points is a touchdown. Just league-wide standard scoring.
I like it. Okay. The Fighting Positive Pats, by the way. We started 0-5.
Is that your team name?
That's the team name. I've won the Fantasy Football Championship at NBC 5
Mine has to do with Bob
times.
Kraft. So
we're going to go ahead and leave it alone, and we're not going to touch that. But we are battled back. Okay, we were 0-5, and we are now 5-6, I believe. And we're a game out of the playoffs. So we've got a shot, and the main reason why. My sleeper of the week. Here you go. You ready for it? Still available in 44% of leagues on ESPN.com right now. Devontae Parker. Devontae Parker is available in more than half of fantasy football leagues in the world right now. You think Dolphins, you think they stink. You think the fact that he was a first-round pick and he hasn't turned into anything, and you think that he stinks. I can tell you he's the 25th best wide receiver in fantasy right now, and he's doing that after an atrocious first couple of games with Ryan Fitzpatrick playing quarterback for him. Go pick up Devontae Parker. He has been a huge addition to the Positive Pats going forward. And it's really helped my team kind of get back on track, because if you can have that flex or that guy, because usually your team, you have a good quarterback or so, you have a couple running backs and receivers, but you're really scraping the bottom of the barrel when it comes to that flex spot. He's the kind of guy who could be your flex going forward as well.
I sat on N'Keal Harry for the whole year.
Yeah.
So I'm stuck. I'm committed to this guy now.
I had Baker Mayfield early on, and I'm glad I've moved on. Josh Allen has kind of helped me get back on track as well. All right, last thing, inspiring moment. I'm gonna let me go ahead and take this from here, if that's okay with you.
Inspire us all you want.
This is, as a positive Pat, I feel like I need to have something that kind of is inspiring to wrap up the show. But one of the coolest things that I get to do as a sports anchor here at NBC5 is also I get to fill in with guys like Sean and RJ on the Sean and RJ Show on 105.3 The Fan. And last week, I was in for Choppy and with Sean, and Sean said that he wanted to share the story about my son, Hudson, and him taking his first steps in a walker. Our 4-year-old has cerebral palsy. It's been a battle every step of the way to this point, but he's making tremendous strides, and he's doing a lot of really cool things. And so one of the things is he's standing better now these days. And so his doctor recommended he try a thing called a kid walk. And this kid walk is basically, it's kind of a walker that straps him at the chest and the waist. And they happen to have one at the school that he goes to. And so he started to use it here and there. And all of a sudden, they sent us this video of him using it for the first time. And the joy in his face, taking actual steps. We didn't know he was ever going to be able to walk. It was one of the coolest moments of my life. Sean wanted me to talk about it on the radio, and I did. The next thing you know, people start reaching out and trying to see how they can buy us a kid walk for our home.
Holy
These
cow.
things are not, these are expensive. Anything that has to do with the medical industry, special needs equipment, this is all super expensive. This was pushing $5,000 for this piece of equipment. And so, it was really one of those things where we were kind of blown away by the response that we got. And come to find out, there was a rep from the medical equipment company, New Motion is what they're called.
Yeah.
That's where we buy a lot of Hudson's gear and his equipment. One of their reps named Devin was listening to the fan. He's a Tolo.
Oh.
And he calls me up and he says, hey man, I just want you to know, we have an extra kid walk at our facility that's a trial kid walk that's only been used 4 or 5 times for kids trying it out. We don't need it anymore. Can we give it to you?
Holy cow.
And I mean, it's like, are you kidding me?
Wow.
Like, right? So last night, Wednesday night, we had a kid walk delivered to our home. Hudson walked in our home for the first time ever. It was one of the coolest moments I've had as a dad. And it just, the idea of where he can be when he's 14 because of the generosity of New Motion, the work that his doctors, therapists, my wife, and I, a little bit, but more the other people there, we kind of all go all in to try and help him have the best life possible. And the idea that he's going to be able to continue to use this and grow into this thing as he gets bigger, because it grows too. And you can expand.
Oh, man.
He's going to be able to use it for about 4 or 5 years. And so this is just a huge thing in our family. You never know how much you think seeing somebody walk like that is going to impact you.
Right.
But man alive, seeing it in person that moment was one of the coolest things that I've had in a long time.
That's really cool. I don't even know what to say about this. I didn't find this out until today.
Yeah.
When Sean told this story today on the radio.
Yeah.
I had no idea. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I know that you have been, you've been dealing with this obviously, and you're talking about getting your van redone and just a lot.
Well,
of
we
the
actually
stuff.
got the van redone, but I drove it into a garage door. And so
that's true. Not the spoiler
we got
right
it fixed. The spoiler's back on now. It's all fixed, but the ramp is good.
I know you guys have been through a lot with this.
Yeah.
This
it's been a lot.
It's a great story.
But the support has been incredible. Our friends have been incredible, and God has been so good to us. And so we are just so thankful and grateful. And I'm thankful to the guys at the Fan for letting me come on. I didn't even know we were going to talk about it that much. I thought it was going to be, and then it turned into a full segment where people really responded in a cool way. So thank you for all the inspiring words on social media. Thank you to you guys at the station for helping us out with it as well, because it's a journey, it's a battle, but it's worth it. And seeing his progress makes us extremely proud. And so it's been very cool, and that's why it's my inspiring moment. I hope it inspires somebody out there watching this right now who has a battle of their own to say, you know what? Something's going to come through, and I'm going to be able to make this thing happen.
Man. You're better. This is the greatest guy in the world.
Positive Pat.
He is the most positive individual.
That's what they all call me, and they make fun of me for it.
I would be mad at the world if I dealt with some of the stuff he goes through.
No, it's all good, man.
He takes it in stride. It's amazing.
I appreciate you coming in studio to do this as well. The inaugural NBC5 Sports Podcast, presented by 105.3 The Fan. Catch RJ Choppy Monday through Friday on the Sean and RJ Show from 5:30 in the morning. Yes, that early until 10 a.m. He does a great job. I love being on the show. Dude, thank you for hanging with me here and being a part of the first NBC5 Sports Podcast. Talk to you guys later.